And welcome everybody to another session of Nerd Doom. Today we have me. I'm Addie, Adrian, whatever you want to call me. Hi.
I'm Mel.
Hi, it's me, Jeff.
Gregory.
Jeff.
Tacos!
Dang it!
I'm Mike.
Yeah, we had taco night. It was
Yeah.
glorious. So, today's topic is going to go around since the season of it is kind of ending. We're going to talk about conventions. And we're going to specifically focus on anime, video game, and comic book conventions. No work conventions, because that's work. And we want to talk about fun stuff.
It's just all about drinking at those things anyway.
That's what you're talking about.
The bigger I've noticed something. The bigger the convention, the more drinking's involved.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You always need a drink.
Party
Deal with
hard.
that
It's
many
I'm
always-
just
times.
saying, though.
It's always awkward at business conventions because I'm like, wait, you guys know that you're like getting shit-faced with your boss.
And then it gets awkward when you
That's
get
the
home.
only
And
time.
in the pictures.
That's the only time it's like useful and great and definitely no repercussions at all.
As long as nobody ever takes video.
Yeah. So we've at this point we've all been to enough conventions.
Yes.
Just a few.
Not enough.
Not enough.
There's never,
Never
enough.
enough. Let's start off with the very first convention we ever went to, and then from there we can talk about attending versus working, and then pros and cons of cons. So
Mel,
yeah.
go.
It's all con.
I'm sitting here trying to think. Was my first con?
It's EXP.
It was EXP Con.
Oh God.
I was like, it's either Free Con or EXP
It was
Con.
EXP.
I remember EXP.
Uh-oh.
It was.
They're bringing it back.
Yeah, it's being brought back today. Brought
Yeah.
back today in October.
Golly, it's hard to even like remember because I was so. That was when.
He was a baby.
It felt like it. But I mean, I was just like really starting to like show my interest in, like, I've always had an interest for it, but I was really starting to just be more open about it
Right.
during that time. And
Not being a closet weeb.
yeah,
Come out, join us.
I didn't go. I don't remember going. I don't think I went to any panels though. I was mainly there, like, well, because we also like volunteered.
Yeah,
We did
basically,
volunteer work there.
what it was he approached us and he was like, "Hey, if you help us, we'll
Yeah.
get you free admission." And I was just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, club,"
Yep.
and everybody was like, "Yeah," and I was just like, I kept.
Dang.
And the funny part was, I kept trying to tell everybody, I'm like, "Look, you're gonna be sitting at these doors for maybe like 3 hours at a
Yeah.
time."
Yeah, we had to do
But
4
that
hour
makes
slots.
up, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you're at least makes up for the fact that you've gotten a free ticket. And the
Yeah.
only thing you're really paying for is your food, souvenirs, and your hotel room.
Yep.
Especially when we went there, we only had to do one slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, and you could just
No,
spend
they
one
asked
day.
if they asked,
Well,
"Hey,
you
can you
guys
do
did.
this?" It was probably more beneficial for you to say yes because then you got some better shit at the end.
Yeah.
And I say we, I meant you guys, since
Yeah.
me and her were pretty.
Well, the
working
first year
entire
you
time.
were, yeah, the
And-
first year you ended up doing the whole monitoring stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I
the
did.
second year they
I
were
did
like,
volunteer work, but
Yeah.
I did a lot of other stuff as well, like during that time, because I knew half the people in the staff.
yeah, and then the second year is when, because they were like, well, one of the liaison people dropped out. We need somebody to help, and I
Yeah.
went, he can do it.
Yep.
I just raised my hand. I was like, cool.
That too, and like, well, I vouched for you too because they literally looked at me and went, I went,
I just remember Brandon going out there. Who wants to be a guest liaison? And
Yeah.
he just raised a hand, and he just picked me immediately.
probably
Yeah.
it was a good thing.
It also helps when we all know Ryan. So
Yeah.
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 This year, though, I think if we can make it, I think we're just going to go as attendees just to
Oh,
see how things are.
definitely.
Because sometimes it's
Yeah.
nice to go to a con and not work it.
Just
Yeah.
a good Saturday is good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
So, Jeff, first con.
It was EXP, but the year before.
I went.
Hers,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
I
Yeah,
was-
because you went.
Because I wanted
Oh,
to
yeah, we
go.
went like 3 years in a row.
yeah, we did.
Yeah, I
Because you
remember
went.
that. I
You
wanted
went
to
for.
go,
That was
and I couldn't
God,
go.
man. How long ago was that? 2011?
Yeah.
No.
No,
No, even
2010.
earlier because
Yeah.
I left in 2012.
Yeah, because
Or
it was
2010.
because you were president. It was the year that Josh somehow got vice president.
Yeah.
That was my first year going there.
True that.
Yeah.
And then, Mike, what was your first one?
Oh man, no, it's a Florida one. I want to say it was a Florida one because I've been to ones out of state. Anime South. It was in Desden or Panama City, and that was lasting for a little bit, and then they moved it. And it hasn't really lasted. It was only like 5 years before it closed down, but it was like a nice smaller one that was at this hotel in Panama City. Yeah, it's definitely Panama City now that I think about it.
My first one had to be a big one, and it wasn't because I was like, I want to go big or go hard. It was more like just it happened that way. I ended up, my friend Elise was like, hey, you ever been to a con? And I won't lie, the entire time she's talking about con, I'm thinking like, con artist, you're conning somebody. I'm going, con? I'm like, no, I haven't con. She goes, convention. I went, oh no.
Oh, child.
No, so she's like, you should come back next year and do SoccerCon with us. And I went back next year and cosplayed at SoccerCon, which is one of the largest ones in Seattle's.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my first con. It was huge and overwhelming and extremely cold
Yeah.
because it actually snowed too.
Oh yeah.
Not heavily, but just enough to like. My Florida weeaboo ass. My friend goes, "Hey, look!" I turn around and start freaking out. Like, oh my god, it's snowing!
Yeah. Where is that one again?
It's in
Seattle,
Seattle.
Washington.
That's right. It's what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to
Yeah.
the West Coast. My first con was the West Coast.
That's
con.
awesome
Yeah.
too.
You know when it's not snowing, it's just like always just down.
Rain,
So cold.
rain.
So cold.
Rain, and then when it gets cold, snow,
Yeah.
snow.
Nope.
I would say another question. Since we all know our first cons, what was your what was your experience at your con? Like, how did
The first
what
one.
was the actually, what was the first thing you thought when you first entered into the con?
I have found my people.
No, it was more like, wait, there's a lot of people here. They like, wait, there's this many people that are into like anime and gaming and stuff. What?
Wow.
They do exist.
I was torn between don't lose my friend because I didn't know what was going on. Plus, I didn't know the area, and I couldn't keep my head still.
I think my first. No, I remember now. My first thought process ever was, I'm not nerdy enough. Like, I
yeah,
really thought
no.
that.
That's all. Yeah, that too.
The first thing that happened was when I walked in was like I watched 2 people that was cosplaying and they were cosplaying something from Bleach, and I was like, dang, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was cosplaying Tosin at the time, and it was all I thought was like, this is way more than I know apparently in terms of like nerdy things that is outside of
No,
anime.
there was that too because I remember walking around and I'm sitting there trying to guess all these different cosplayers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know that one. I don't know that one. What is that one from? What? That's
Yeah.
really good. What is that from?
And that's what I spent most of my time doing was like, oh my god, I can't figure out half the things that people are
Bad
cosplaying.
that I
at
have to
this
look
point.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like sitting there like, I had to ask. I just straight up asked them. I was like, hey, where
That's
are you
what I would
from?
do.
I'm like, not
Yeah.
that good. It also felt completely out of place because like I didn't cosplay the first day.
No, I didn't cosplay
So like
at all.
it almost seemed like you were at wrong for not cosplaying.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's what I felt. I'm
Like-
like, wait, because I didn't know what cosplay was, and then I see people dress. I'm like, wait, people dress up as characters that they like, and like they're not like shamed for it or anything.
Right.
What?
We luckily knew more about it just because of Genshiken, but like
Yeah,
I didn't understand the grand scale of it.
Who I can show you who I cosplay because it's easier just to show you than actually tell you.
Yeah.
Hand me the Chrono Crusade, Volume 2.
Do I have to? Where is it?
It's on it's not right there next to Cat Paradise. Next shelf up.
I don't
Loading.
think I cosplayed. I just remember when I went because EXPCon has that, like, oh my gosh, what was it that we did? Where it was basically like a nerd prom, and it was fantastic.
It was a masquerade.
Yeah, it was a masquerade.
Not so masky.
Yeah, without the
Do I have one?
masks.
It was just like
But-
Do I not have one?
yeah,
No.
it was more like a prom than a
No, I don't see
nerd
one.
prom.
That was like the only time I think I dressed up during
I
it.
need
So
3.
like the rest of it, I wasn't. I don't remember honestly,
You did not.
but I don't think I did. And yeah, but seeing everybody else with all their cosplays, I was just like,
am inferior.
I was like, I'm not a big enough fan. I feel like I can't be here. But then
I am
the
not
cool thing was,
worthy.
you know, pretty much one of the reasons I love going to cons is because like everybody, you know, most people are generally like super supportive and like, oh no, like let me take you under my wing, like, you know, I can
you're-
show you all these things that
you're
are great about
unofficial.
yeah.
Con
Mine-
parents.
yeah,
con
con
parents.
Mine was I got there and like I made my costume by hand,
Yeah.
but I got there and I'm seeing all these people. I'm going, I am so shitty at making this. But I did her. She's a
Oh.
German jewel witch in the series Chrono Crusade. Her name is
yeah,
Satella
yeah.
Havenheit.
Nice.
Yeah, I think she's white enough.
Oh my god, bless Elise. She found the wig I had. Yeah, she found the wig I had to wear for her because it was like this huge red wig, and we did this jerry rig cut on the bangs to get them to be shorter. But
Nice.
yeah, seeing that versus all the other people that were cosplaying that were doing fantastically well, I was just like, ugh. Also, I was a huge Weeaboo fangirl for a particular voice actor, so.
I know the first thing I did when at least for Anime South, the first thing I did was look for the manga library because I
I
didn't
dove for that
have
one.
because I didn't have like such a huge collection. Like I had a collection at the time, but like it wasn't like I didn't know about a lot of them, and this was like before I really got into fan subs and stuff of that nature. And so like when I looked in the mangas, it was so crazy how I like didn't know like half the things that was existing, and I was like, "There's no way I can't read all of these. I need to know all of this and this and this and this." Hence where I got into fan subs and subscriptions online, and just getting on like things like Manga Hero and what was it? I forgot what the popular one at the time was.
I don't remember it
Yeah.
either. But so I think it's safe to assume that we were all slightly overwhelmed, if not awed, by our first
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's typical of everybody.
The
Like,
first time's always awkward.
God bless the parents who go for their kids who are like, I want to go to this con for the first time, and the parents are like, well, you're too young to go by yourself, so I have to go with you. The
Never-
look on their face is torn between this is fascinating and oh my god, what am I getting into?
Yes.
All right, no, what is my kid into?
Yes.
I never understood that until we went to MetroCon for the
Yes.
first time because I'd never seen a parent like take their
Yes.
child to there until like that Sunday, the first time we went to MetroCon,
Yeah.
like together. And I was just like, this is insane. Like, there's no way because I went to MetroCon before, but I only went for like a day, and like
Yeah.
I'd never
half the time
gone.
I was in the game room. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Props to the parents that bring their kids to cons.
oh,
though.
definitely, and props to the
Uh,
parents that like are just as nerdy as their
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nerd
most of them are,
families.
but then you get the ones that are just like, what?
No, when I like freaked out when I first saw the
Naruto dad and son.
Naruto's dad.
When I did my
had
Maka
his son,
cosplay, the little
cosplaying
boy
Naruto.
literally just tugged on my jacket, and I turn around, I see this little Naruto, and I'm like, oh my god!
Yep.
And he goes, can I take a
Minato,
picture?
there we go.
Yeah. He goes, can I take my picture with you? And I was
Oh,
just
so
like,
cute.
oh my god, yes! And then I turn around, I see his dad dressed up at
Naruto.
yeah, no, his dad this time was dressed up as older Naruto,
Oh right.
and I was
okay.
just like, yes.
So cool.
So, okay, kind of moving on a little bit. Do we want to list the biggest con we've ever gone to?
Sure.
Okay, but we're gonna keep this one short because we're gonna go into the pros and cons next. So, Mike,
Comic-Con in San Diego.
this is when you were younger, right?
Yeah, I was. It was a little after Anime South. We had a couple years. We were just went to. We went. It was It's just overwhelming. It's
Tears.
even. But to be fair, even then, it wasn't ever. It wasn't even clearly the same as it is right now.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
no, it exploded.
Even back
past couple
then,
years.
like it was
Yeah.
big, but it wasn't like an international phenomenon at the
Yeah.
time. There was no New York. There was no Tampa. There was no like Australia like kind of thing. There was no like Germany kind of thing at the time. But it was really overwhelming. Like at the time, that was when like a bunch of big stuff was coming out, and that was like
Yeah.
along the first times they were really like delving out of like just comics and stuff, and like really delving in like all the things that happened in TV and like really popular stuff. They were saving like big announcers at the time for that. It was really cool. I don't remember half of it because I was drunk. I'm drunk for half of it. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go.
I won't lie. Like I
Aw.
definitely was
Dang.
definitely not an underage game. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh god.
So it was about half of it. I do remember I did play a lot of games and did a lot of like cool things. It was
Mine-
really nice.
I'm torn between MegaCon and SakuraCon.
Sakura's bigger.
Yeah, so Sakura, my first one again. I went big, so
Yeah, Sakura's
yeah.
bigger.
I went to
Yeah.
SakuraCon was my biggest, and again, it was just very overwhelming, but it was so nice. And oddly enough, like the whole cosplay I was doing from Chrono Crusade, my friend did the main character Rosette, and then her older brother did Demon Chrono. He has like a demon big form, and of course then I did Satella, and we were just outside, and this was lucky the clear day. Warm day too, and we're walking around and we see another person dressed up as another character from the same series, and we're like,
Nice.
"Oh shit, come over here!" And we all took a picture, and it was
Yeah.
it was like they had a huge Kingdom Hearts meetup.
Yeah.
they had a really popular Japanese band there, Initial D.
Yeah.
They were fantastic to listen to.
The guys for Initial D.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah. It was really good. But yeah, that was my biggest one. MegaCon is the second biggest I've been to, like in terms of. But okay, for local, like statewide,
Yeah.
Mega's the largest.
Yeah.
Actually, it's still one of the largest in the south. It's still one of the largest in the southeast, only behind Dragon Con. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said statewide.
Yeah.
So, Neil?
My biggest would actually probably have to be, it would be Pensacon, wouldn't
No,
it? 'Cause
Pensacon's
Pensacon's bigger than Metro.
huge.
Yeah, Pensacon's huge.
And it was
The line. Oh my god.
it was great.
And that was just the pre-order line, not just the show-up line.
Yeah.
Thank God for pre-order lines, though.
Oh my gosh, it was insane.
We were a block.
Like, even
It went like for a whole block away.
it was
Nice.
it was like
What
it
about-
was just so far.
What about AWAs? How big is that one?
Not that big.
Okay,
No.
never mind then. I've been to that one. but
Like,
no.
it's big.
It's getting bigger.
No, yeah.
MomoCon's bigger.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Momo is.
And that used to be
yeah,
free.
that was.
Sorry, I just remembered that one.
Yeah, that one was.
Back in the day.
That one was probably the biggest I've been to so
Yeah.
far.
I'll share your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We went together.
Pensacon's huge. I always wanted
was-
to go.
I surprised you
We're
with
gonna-
the Pensacon
Yes, it was wonderful.
one. Yeah.
I always
And
wanted to go to Pensacon.
I want to go
but
back.
It was,
I
like,
want to
We'll
go
go
back
one
next-
day.
I want to go back
Yeah, I
next
always want
year.
to go, but like it was
The
always
VIPs
planned
are
on a
already
weird
sold out.
weekend.
Yeah.
already.
There,
Like
it's funny because it's kind of like, even though it's obviously not as big as San Diego Comic Con, but it's still like basically it does the exact same thing. Like the day VIPs go on sale, they sell out by the end of the day.
Oh,
It
no,
definitely
AWA
rivals
was the
Mega.
same way.
Yeah,
It's-
definitely
yeah.
rivals Mega if I remember correctly because their
Yeah,
setup's
they're
pretty
contender.
similar.
Yeah.
I think VIP, the only one that was worth the VIP I got was Metro.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing
yeah.
I could think of where VIP actually meant something more than just
Yeah.
Then all the other
getting
cons that we
online
went to that we
early,
tried the VIP
sort
at,
of.
those were shitty.
Yeah.
So to move it on, we're gonna do pros and cons, and then we're also gonna do some comparisons. I guess EXP can be considered a first year con because by the time we went, it was in its second year. Yeah. So there's first year cons, and then you've got the cons that have been doing it for a while. So we're gonna do kind of like comparison on them. Me and Mike have been to a few first year cons. There's Chaoticon, PariahCon, and there's one more. Wasn't
Yeah,
there?
and I'll count Anime South as a first year con when I went because
Okay.
that was its first year.
Yeah.
wow.
And it didn't last long, and it had the same issues as some of the other ones we had.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to count EXP just because
No, it's the second year.
the
so that
way
doesn't count.
also the way it was released was way different than any
Yeah.
other one. Like all of these first years that I'm thinking about is all the ones that like literally just some nerd like decided they wanted to pick it up and then try it out. It's not like people that like spent years on business school and stuff of that nature
Yeah.
to make sure they get it
Yeah.
right before they started.
Which is why it probably had such a huge hiatus for a while there. But, so yeah, those PariahCon, Chaoticon, and of course your Anime South?
Anime South.
Anime South. First year con, something I've noticed. Have y'all gone to a first year con before?
no, I don't think so.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Oh
no.
no,
Depending on-
AltCon.
Were we at their
did.
first year?
We were at Alt's
Okay.
first year.
Oh right, Allcon was its first year when we went.
Yeah,
I forgot.
guess,
I forgot
Everything
about
has
So
its-
AltCon.
I guess so.
It's
yeah.
definitely another
Sorry.
one that has
So,
its issues.
No.
the funny story for us is,
Elevator Con.
I was gonna say,
That
Chaoticon was more interesting.
No, Elevator Con was way
No,
more
yeah.
interesting.
So PariahCon,
PariahCon.
we worked PariahCon.
Where was this?
This was this is like right outside Tampa, like right between Orlando and Tampa.
Lake City, I
Oh,
wanna
okay.
say.
Maybe it was like right near that area, like I said, between Orlando and Tampa. So
Lakeland.
Lakeland,
I was
that's
saying,
what it was.
Lake
Lakeland.
City's up
It's-
near us.
I was saying it's one. It
It's
says
Lakeland.
Lake, and I was like, is it Lake City or is it Lakeland?
It was no, I don't think
It's
it
Lakeland.
exists anymore. This is a con that I think failed after year 2.
I just
Yeah.
remember when we first was driving up, when we were like, "Oh, we're on our way," and we're just like passing by the hotel.
Because it
that
didn't
is
look
where
like
we're-
anything in the
We're
picture.
just like, that could. It'd be funny if that was it. And then the first thing we say is like, "Nah, it's too shitty. There's no way." We drive by, and we're like passing it. We look at the GPS. We're like,
Oh.
no.
It
And we
was
had
a
to turn
really
around and
bad
like look at it.
hotel.
Like, shit.
no.
So this hotel, pretty much the entire hotel was a convention. You had obviously the rooms where you could stay, but they had like their conference rooms and everything, which were all the stuff was. One level was Artist Alley / merchant dealer hall, if you want to call it that. And then also autograph room. And then the next level was signings and autographs. And it was just like each level was something different. And it was just really horribly set up. And not to mention, at the same time, this hotel is going under renovations.
Oh.
At the exact same time.
No.
So that was the biggest part of it, is that
Oh
one of the
my
elevators
gosh.
wasn't technically working.
Oh,
And then the other one, like, was also in renovation, but they weren't working on it until after the con.
They were
So,
they were
like-
using that elevator.
Yeah, we were
to-
using that elevator, but that was just as shitty because it was like super slow, one, and then two, it made like the worst noises.
It was terrifying to get on. And then I think we eventually gave up and just took the stairs, right?
No,
No, we
because you
didn't.
can't. Because
Oh,
remember,
the
every
stairs
time we had to
were-
go to the top, because that's where the
It would be
vendors hall
locked.
was. You had to like go. You had to take the elevator. If you wanted to take the stairs, you had to like go all the way around in some weird way just to get there.
The
And
only
it just takes too much time for our guests.
the only redeeming quality to this hotel was the bar that was attached to it.
Oh yeah.
All right, because it
Oh,
was like a small little
gosh.
bar.
Yeah, like a
there.
small
I remember-
bar restaurant place.
Oh, I wouldn't say it was small. It was actually pretty. It was a lounge. It was
That's
like
what
a
it was, it
full
was a
lounge
lounge.
that was there, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I remember.
I couldn't imagine. Like, oh, we're under renovations, but we're still gonna host you guys. Like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my
No.
god.
I think it was just because it was cheap.
Well, yeah, that's how you get a good rate. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, it
I
was-
literally, there was a panel one of the guest actors was having, and in all fairness, he was also a very young voice actor, and he was still new to the whole con thing, but they were asking questions, and it kind of got dead for a moment, so I went in there, and I know you're not supposed to, and I would
Right.
never do this at Metro, but I went in and literally picked up the mic and started asking him questions, and then trying to get the audience to participate and getting him engaged in it as well. So...
Oh yeah, I forgot
It was
you
more
jumped-
like an
jumped there and
assistant
just did some
interview.
stuff there.
Yeah.
Even though I had him, I was just sitting there like, okay. This is-
No, yeah, because I just felt bad, and like nobody was asking any good questions.
Well,
nobody was
that's
engaging.
one pro we can probably say about it. It was so much more leadway on our end
Yeah.
that we could do, because like when you
Was it the right thing? Probably not. But
usually it isn't, but like
No.
there's a lot more leadway, and there's not as much ruling and restrictions and legal matters that comes with these cons, because there's not much that's put into it. It's just kind of like they just got paid to go
Q&As
there,
were-
and that's it.
yeah, Q&As were more like conversation circle.
Yeah.
You remember were you there last year with Robbie Damon?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember how like when we got into the panel room, he just had everybody sit in a circle?
Yes.
That was pretty much Pariah Con.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that's the actual attendance of the entire con.
Oh.
essentially. Like,
Yeah.
I think they
sad.
only had like maybe 100 to 200 people,
Yeah.
and it was like I remember all the issues with it. Like they had issues with badges and like
Oh, it's so sad.
a bunch of other crap. It was really weird.
It
Like,
was. It was.
Yeah, I can't really.
VIP wasn't even that good either. Like we tried really hard to try and get that up, but it was poorly managed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chaoticon first year we attended. That was first year was decent. It had promising stuff to it. It seemed like it was gonna be fun. I know that look. We're not gonna go there.
I mean,
No,
if I have to work the con when I'm attending,
no, that was the second year.
no, it was first year.
No, that was the second year.
Sabi was in the first year.
You're right.
No, they were
Habercorn,
both shitty.
Habercorn was the second year.
Second year was just worse because we took the VIPs and they meant nothing.
Yeah. So
It
the
was in a
first
different hotel.
we did the VIPs, and it was fairly decent. And then we met Chris Sabat because he was at EXP,
Right.
Yeah.
so
that's
he knew
where I
us
met him.
from that.
Right.
And we were like, we see him there, and like for some reason or another, like his autograph line was just like the shittiest thing ever, and people were starting to like get really upset, like from between the VIPs, and then like nobody knew where to line up. So me and Mike literally went. And we started separating people out and then lining
Sounds
them
about
up,
right.
and they're like, "Are you working?" I'm like, "No, but I've worked at con and I know how this shit works."
Well,
So-
no. That's because we already worked with him. Like this.
No,
he
no,
was,
I'm talking about getting the line in order.
Oh, okay.
First.
Oh, the what's his face? The dude that actually was helping Henry.
His
that
yeah,
runs
yeah.
Holiday Matsuri.
Yeah, he didn't really help much. But no, I'm talking about the autograph line for Chris Sabat.
No, he was helping. It's just Henry wouldn't let him.
Oh yeah, that's right. But anyway, so we got that finally organized between VIP and normals, and then Sabat shows up, and his handler was kind of like meh, didn't really know what he was doing, and so we're
Didn't have a handler.
no, that's right, he didn't even have a
Yeah,
handler.
no, he
Because
didn't
the only
have
person he got
anybody.
to talk to was the guy from Holiday Matsuri, and he didn't even know. Like he
Oh,
didn't even know that
gosh.
was happening because Henry didn't do anything about that. So he got stuck with him.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't supposed to do any of that. That's why it seemed like he wasn't caring. It was because that he had to do like 4,000 different things.
That's right. He was
and
pretty
then
much the
also
manager
deal with
at that
people.
point.
Hence why
Oh.
we ended up just hanging with Sabbath that day because
Yeah.
he didn't have any time.
And
Oh,
he
gosh.
literally was like, "Hey, I left some stuff in my room. Can you go grab it for me?" And we literally looked to the other guy and went, "Is that okay with you?" And he goes, Go for it. And we're like, all right. So we ran and got his stuff, came back, and we literally hung out with him at the table for a while until it finally cooled down, because it didn't really last that long, the
Right.
autograph stuff. And then we were like, hey, whenever you get the chance, do you want to go out and just grab lunch? And he was like, yeah! So we ended up having lunch later that day, which was awesome. That's the one beneficial part to first-year cons that I've noticed. A little more lax, and you can actually kind of hang out with the voice actor just a little bit.
Yeah, I would
more.
say that if you're staff, you have a little. Well, you have more time. That's the
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
the biggest thing. Is
definitely.
that because the guests have more time, the people that's working with them also has as much time.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really do as much. Like
Yeah.
so, you get a lot more leeway to get some fun stuff going on.
And so let it be known that most of the cons that we're naming right now, like PrideCon, Catacon, and Anime South, don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly due to poor management.
Yeah.
Now,
Anime South tried to
AltCon, the one
revitalize
you're also talking
itself.
about, that just got renamed.
Yeah, they went down and then are
Rebranded.
redoing this.
I was still
themselves.
understand the-
Revamped.
Re-imaging.
I don't even understand the background about it because
Me
there's no
neither.
way the
It got
same
under new
person-
management.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
No.
no way the same people were running.
No,
it.
it's not.
So that's the only reason I'm giving it a
So
chance.
can you consider
Yeah,
a
same.
first year con since it's technically changed?
No.
No?
Well, no, 'cause there's still
you can say the
some
same about
change.
Metro if you wanted to say that.
True.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're gonna move on. Pros and cons of cons. Let's see here.
Pro 1, you get to hang out with your nerd community
Yes.
and your fellow, like, you get to meet and realize that all these other people that love the same weird, crazy stuff that you do exist.
You realize you're not crazy.
You're like, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You never play with other people in video games that actually like have thought process very close to you. Is very weird. Especially since I know Jeff and mine was like very different in terms of gaming. Like we're very picky when it comes to like certain stuff and the friends that we have. So it's really nice to actually meet people that are like interested in the same type of games that we are sometimes.
It's nice to also go because like certain like fandoms at first you're kind of like I'm slightly ashamed of this fandom I have,
Right.
but then you get there and you see other people who have the same fandom as you and you're like,
Yeah.
no, we.
Yeah.
That was a big pro for me. It made me really learn how to not like be ashamed of that at all.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you
Like, I
feel
was-
more
Like I
accepted
had,
at
like
conventions.
ever since I like really like was going to cons on a regular basis,
Me too.
I had a hard time like turning that off.
Me
like, I was like,
too.
I have no reason to turn it off because why the fuck should I care?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely. That's another, pro for sure. Is that it definitely like made me a lot more like when just people either one that were my age who didn't, go to conventions or just weren't, like that at all,
Right.
or people who were older than me. And they're like, oh, you go to those? I'm like, yeah, because they're amazing. And like I would just go and like it would actually make me, be excited to talk about it and not be afraid like, oh, they're gonna think I'm like like I'd be like, no, it's amazing, like you guys have to because you get to do all these things, blah blah blah,
One of
So-
the kind of add on to that, did y'all read the post Alex put up recently from a gentleman like he'd never gone to a single. So yeah,
Oh
so
my
yeah.
gosh,
one of the
Oh,
major.
it made me so happy.
I know one of the major conventions that we go to down here in Florida is
MetroCon.
MetroCon. MegaCon.
We worked there too.
Yes.
Once. No, so we went. The big one is MetroCon, and this past year, it was really good. This past year, Alex, one of the co-owners for MetroCon, posted on the website a letter from a gentleman who was staying at the hotel that is connected to the convention center and one of the two major hotels that's for the con. And so basically the entire note was just saying, hey, I was just at this convention because of work, but I had downtime, and I saw these people that were dressed up, and I was complimenting them, and I wanted to know what was going on, so they told me, and they said, hey, you should totally definitely go check it out. So I went over, got a day pass, and I can tell you I've had the most fun I've ever had. The people
Yeah.
that were there were extremely friendly, and they weren't all upset to tell me and explain to me what was this all about, what their costumes were, what characters they were. And so something like that, feedback like that for somebody who has no idea what
Yeah.
anime is or has a vague idea of what anime is and understands just a little bit,
Yeah.
can go in and go, these kids are all right.
Yeah.
And that's another pro to me is specifically about conventions in general. And I would say specifically anime conventions.
Yeah.
I don't say it as much in comic conventions because
Yeah.
a very different audience.
Oh
It
yeah.
really is.
I say in anime conventions is seriously some of the best attendance I ever see in my entire life. It is like some of the nicest people I ever meet ever.
Yeah.
Like it's so great to meet some people that actually are sensible and not complete a-holes and
Yeah.
constantly need to be unnaturally kind of situation. And it's just
I think those more at video game cons.
no,
Oh,
it's
gosh.
more comic cons.
Comments. He's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not
It's more
canon.
Comic Cons. I don't know how many times I go to Mega. I don't know how many times I go to Mega and meet like a couple of people, and I'll say one thing, and they're just like, "Wait a minute!" And like they
Yeah.
get into full-on arguments about something
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily care about.
Yeah, that's big
Yeah,
in comic
no,
book
you're right.
community.
Yeah,
You're right.
I don't know. Video games is just more intense. Like that's actually a huge
Video
comparison.
games is
there.
more just
Going to a video game like expo is like going to a sporting event. Honestly and truly,
No,
Yeah.
you're
like
right.
it's very like. I'm not gonna lie to you,
Bro,
like,
bro.
yeah.
I've
Like, I
never
am
been, but
scared to
I kind
go-
of I kind of still would like to go to
It's what
E3
EXP
once.
was
Yeah,
like-
I'm scared to go to CEO. I'm scared to go to E3 for that exact. Well, not
Yeah.
necessarily E3.
no.
Because E3 is very different. It's
That's
much
more
like,
like-
it's like the Comic Con of video games.
Yeah.
But I mean like video game expos like PAX East.
Oh
and
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
E3 and CEO and final round, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like those are crazy, like very bro-like events, especially CEO, like which is like become one of the biggest like expos of all time. Which is another person we know now. We
Yeah.
know for a while since like, EXP, Alex Bailey.
Yep. Now let's see who else. Or not who else, but let's see what else. There's
pros.
so we got good. There's a lot of good pros in this. A con, lack of sleep. But I'm not saying just individually, like as yourself.
Is that a con?
It's when you get the people who haven't slept for 3 days straight, and they're manic at one point, and then they're the ones that are causing issues and stuff because they're pretty much hyped up on caffeine and lack of sleep. And hallway sleepers, BO,
Yeah.
and the ones who are
The Melvins.
creepers.
The
Yeah,
Melvin.
Melvins.
Don't be a Melvin.
Melvins.
They're like my favorite PSA
Oh,
like
God.
series
That's
ever.
fantastic. But no, yeah,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've walked up or walked near somebody or just walked past and you get that odor of
Oh my
death.
God.
You're like, and the only face you can make is this.
Yes. Oh yes.
Especially
Oh no.
Especially
face.
people that decide
Yes.
to wear the same cosplay every day.
Do you remember the Koa cosplayer at Metro a few years
Yeah,
back?
that was a
He
little.
would not. Oh my god! I'm pretty. Either this
I
dude was
firmly believe he
oblivious.
slept in it.
Yeah, either he was oblivious to his
He died.
stank, or he just never washed the costume because
Oh,
this guy could walk by you and he could be across the hallway and you'd
But
smell
you.
it.
Oh.
God, it was so
dude.
I was getting on an elevator with that guy.
And then you get the ones who just wouldn't brush their teeth either.
Yeah,
The breath,
There's a lot of
oh.
weird things about
Hell,
And
that.
then of course, con crud.
Oh,
People
yeah.
always getting
That's
everybody
after.
sick.
Yeah.
That's after. That's another.
Well,
con
probably
funk.
because it goes to
So
lack
hang
of
on.
sleep.
There's con crud and then there's con funk. Con funk is the stank people give off.
Yes.
Con crud is the illness you get after
After
the
the
con.
Well, probably because of lack of sleep, your immunities
Yeah.
are going to be down.
That
so
too.
it's,
Um,
you're
That
exposed
and
to
you're
that many
eating
people.
shitty.
Probably another.
If you're
con,
eating.
Like,
Here's something. It's a mixed pro con.
yes.
Money.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
How much money you lose out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you get that time where you're like, okay, I have this much, I can spend all this much, and then you realize, shit, this is also food money.
Yep.
No, I'm not eating. I need this.
Well, I would say that was definitely me early cons. I was like, man,
I remember that. It actually kind of pissed me off.
what? How much I didn't eat like before then? I mean, it's not that I didn't eat. I just had stuff before then.
Sorry, chicken and dog. But no, yeah, so, yeah, it's just,
What are you doing?
did you leave any food out?
Guilty. No, he's just
Yeah,
sniffing the
the-
trash
Get in
can.
here. Bad cop.
Enter Norris.
So, but
Yeah.
no, so you get, money issue, sleeping, hotel room sharing.
Oh yeah, we've had like 12
Yeah.
When
people.
we used
in a room.
to, we used to
Oh,
talk back
God.
then.
I
Oh,
had
it
decided. Well, that was like the only time I had gone to EXP. I think was only that one year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will never
Do that again.
share. Like, not that I had a bad room. Like, thankfully, everyone that I was in the room with was like good.
It's still hard.
But still, I was just like, I'm never doing this again.
No,
It's
yeah,
I
too
slept
many.
I do the
had,
same
we had
thing.
8 people in one room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something ridiculous.
No, yeah. 6 is usually what you can get away
Oh,
with.
that's not even ridiculous.
Yeah, 6 is
MetroCon,
normal.
No,
one year when we went, we fit like 10 people in one room.
I want to
that
say
was
there
hard.
was.
I wasn't in
I
that,
want to
but-
say in the room I was in,
'Cause
there
I paid
was
for
like.
my own room.
I want to say there was at least 9 in the one room I was in because you were in a different room.
Yeah.
You had like only like
I-
that year you only had like 4
No.
or something.
No, I had 8 people in my room.
Okay. Yeah, I had like
I had the-
I had the
literally
least.
9.
I
Because there was
I had a
there was,
shit
like-
ton of people.
there was like 2
Yeah, you
people
weren't in
on
my
each bed, like 2 like cots, and then there was like 3 or 4. So yeah, there was like more than.
I
10
had my
people.
own
It
room
was
because I paid for
ridiculous.
my room. So I
Yeah,
had,
the
like,
rooms
six
that
people.
everybody else had, the ones that are I had to book those rooms, but I
Yeah.
made people pay a certain amount of money to be able to get into those rooms, and I told
Yeah.
them, I'm like, look, these rooms are $100 a night. I'm
Yeah.
making you only pay $100 for 3 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fork over. And some people are actually trying to give me a hard time for that too, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that was definitely-
Yeah.
But
always. No, I just remember, like, I slept on the floor and I had, like, just a little. There was no sheets. Like, the whole hotel had ran out of sheets.
I think
So I just grabbed, like, this little. It was like a little washcloth. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna
This is my life.
covering up with a
That's
washcloth.
I
so
think after that
depressing.
particular con, I kept telling everybody, bring your own pillow, bring sleeping
Yeah.
bag.
That was my first year. Then second year, I'm like, nope, sleeping bag.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I told people, like, I always brought a pillow and a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes kept getting drunk and then stepping over
Oh
me while I'm
my
trying to sleep. I'm like,
And then let's not talk about the guys I had to literally chase down to tell them, stop forcing open the windows and walking on the balcony.
oh, I
my
remember that.
gosh. Yeah, we're not gonna get
The hotel almost kicked us out for that.
Yep.
I remember
Also, the guy that got drunk and then I don't know how left the door wide open, had to pee, but he was on his knees and he was like peeing in an arc into the toilet. He was getting in the toilet, but and I'm like, you know, when you're running low, you're just gonna piss all over yourself, dude. But he was just like,
What? I've never heard this.
and I just rolled over and went back to sleep. I'm like, I am not. I'm not
I remember
part of
hearing.
this.
I remember hearing this now.
Yeah.
I
I
remember
never
Jeremy
heard
telling me
I
about
never
that.
heard
Yeah,
that till now.
yeah.
This is the first time I'm hearing
I don't even
it.
know
No,
who the
no,
fuck it was.
dude,
Someone
there was
Jeremy
so-
brought in my room.
Oh
I was like,
my
There
Jeremy,
was
what the
so
fuck?
much in that con that like
Oh
has
my
happened.
god.
That's happened around us that no one knows. Like
Oh
we
my
just
God.
didn't say anything.
Who broke Alf's ribs? Was it Maria or was it?
What? I never heard
Okay,
this story.
wait,
Oh,
so,
yeah, hold on.
so
It was
before
a
you
staff
take it out of
wrestling
context,
match. It was a
for-
staff
hold on, I'll
wrestling
Jeremy.
explain.
It was Jeremy.
So,
Oh,
one that was Jeremy.
Oh, well, Jeremy.
Yeah, it was
was
Jeremy.
Wait, was it? No,
Yeah,
it was
no.
Maria.
No,
Maria,
yeah, it
Maria
was
was
Maria,
actually Maria's the one that
She's
actually
a
broke
stunt
it.
woman,
He
so-
just dropped her, but they were both like into stunts, so there
No,
wasn't
no,
like,
no.
a big
Maria
deal.
didn't break the rib. Elf broke the rib. He fractured the rib. I'm sorry.
No, Maria did.
No, no. It
Yeah,
was Elf.
she punched him.
As in,
just
she
hard
was the
enough.
one who made the rib break.
Yes.
No,
that was-
Yeah.
no. I'm talking about the person whose rib broke, not the one who broke it.
Oh, Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that was Brandon.
And it
No,
wasn't a
okay.
break, it
So
was,
what
like,
happened
fractured,
was
so.
there was a weird thing. I think it was the first year we
Sunday
went.
night.
Yeah, first Saturday night.
Yeah.
So the first year we went, we all had all the staff there, because all of them know each other, and
Right.
they decided to have. I guess they have this in a normal time. A random like tournament of people fighting.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
it was legitimately a street fight.
It was basically fight.
Oh
It was
my
It wasn't
gosh.
like I'm gonna beat you up to the point where you can't stand. It was pretty
Well,
much whoever
I
can
mean,
knock
it
you down
wasn't-
and kind of make you stay down
Well,
longer.
it wasn't
Right.
supposed to.
Well,
That's what you meant.
it
If
became,
that's what
but
you
it
meant.
became
Oh
the
my
thing that
gosh.
we're not
Every
allowed to
year
speak
it becomes
of.
basically Brandon taking off his shirt and basically like who can take me kind of shit.
Oh, gosh.
Mind you, at this point they've had at least a few beers and maybe some moonshine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had no.
I went
that
the
was-
fuck to
It was
sleep
way
at
more
this
than that
point.
because
I'm
there's
like,
an
nope.
entire table of just drinks, just
Oh,
fountains
gosh.
of drinks.
I
So like we had quite a bit
Let's
that
not-
day.
let's
Jeremy
not-
got sick because he messed up. That was the first time
He
Jeremy
drank
like
so
drank
mu-
right.
oh my
No,
gosh.
he did it backwards because he did like I think he did like some sort of like whiskey and just went hard on that.
He did.
And
No,
then
he
drank
can't
beer
handle
right
it.
after.
Oh,
And it was funny. He got sick off of that. But yeah,
You know,
Jeremy
I-
was fighting in that. There's a video online still on YouTube
Yup,
for that.
yup. I grabbed drinks, I had my drink, I left, went to sleep.
Yeah, I remember
was
that.
like-
I remember you leaving.
I'm
It
like,
was just me,
deuces.
Year.
Chris, NBC, and Jeremy
So
stayed
glad
for all
you
that.
didn't
I
do
remember
that.
that. I just remember waking up the
Well,
next
fine.
morning.
Well, we
going,
didn't participate.
Poor
I didn't
Brandon woke up
participate.
and he was just like, oh.
Yep.
Like he fractured it, turned out. So
Oh.
like
It's
he
like
was
hairline
fine. It's just it was
fracture.
enough that obviously you're gonna go ow. But
Maybe
the
sore for a
next
while.
year, EXP again. We've kind of moved on from pros and cons a little bit here, but the next year,
Is obviously a pro.
the
Fight clubs that break it. Like what?
Yeah,
Yep.
there was a fight club.
that's
Con,
all.
Con Fight Club.
Oh my god.
It was only staff though.
Yeah.
What was it? Next year we had the voice of Mario in.
Yes.
He managed the
Oh, every
Saturday
year,
night.
almost.
Yeah, he managed to get the Saturday night party to get everybody in the bathroom and do cheers.
That was him and Troy Baker was there for that.
Yep.
Yep, and there was one other voice actor too.
That's awesome.
I can't remember.
It was.
I know who it is. I'm just not gonna say it.
No, there's a yeah.
Wait. I remember he was
Well,
there.
no, also
He did not. The look on his face when this was going down was like, "Do I have to?"
Yeah. Well, no.
So-
Well, I know that you're attending the con. I don't know if he was at the. I don't think he was at the party. The guy who did Master Chief was there too.
That was the second year.
Yeah, he was there. Oh.
Not the year with Mario, but he was there.
Not-
the
No, he was
previous-
there. The year
He was
with
here because Mario was there both years.
Yeah, Mario
Yeah.
went 2 years.
So, kind of go back to pros and cons. We were kind of went off on the train.
Are there cons? That's like the hard part is that I don't find really any cons personally.
I do.
There really are not. There's
I mean-
small ones. There's small inconvenient ones.
Just
So I
but
don't know if I
like,
find
eh.
them something that like
They're not
kind of
completely-
deters
They're
me.
not gonna
to-
necessarily
That's enough
ruin-
to deter me.
No.
they're not going to necessarily ruin or deter you from going. It's just more along the lines that, like, afterwards you go, well, that was some shit. But what was the
Yeah.
con you were talking about here?
Well, one, like, definitely, for me personally, is, like, creepers.
There weren't that many this year at Metro, thank goodness.
Melvin
No.
was there.
That's his nickname now for me.
Except for him, but he's kind of been a constant. And
Yeah.
He's always
He's
there.
also, yeah. Anyway, so, not gonna get into that.
But yeah,
But-
creepers are definitely something that'll ruin it. It's
That-
mostly for female
Yes.
attendees.
Yes.
I had my butt grabbed once.
You did?
Oh,
I
that was
remember
at
that. You also got hit on at Metro, not this year, but last year.
Oh no, I'm just talking about when I was cosplaying.
Oh,
That
well,
was
that's
FreeCon.
that's any time you cosplay.
Yeah,
To be fair, as Deadpool.
yeah.
it's that skin tight
It's
suit.
that skin tight
Pucker.
makes your butt look
Uh,
good.
So we're gonna kind of go on. We've been kind of talking about it a little bit, but comparison between since we've all been to a con as an attendee, and now we've all worked a con as staff, and we've kind of talked a little bit like the experiences we've had going off and on as
Right.
both. Do you find it's more fun as an attendee or more fun as a staff?
Stuff.
And
Staff, probably.
yeah, definitely
I-
staff, but I would say depends on the con because if you're
Yeah.
staff at a con that's not well put together,
Yes.
I know. I was about.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say
so
that.
it's very subjective
But
to
Definitely.
what the con is.
Even then, and even the places that we didn't necessarily like the con that we were working at, like they were shitty for what they were, I still would have rather been staff. And it's
Yeah.
only because I am not a person that goes to panels a lot. I find them boring and kind of useless. No offense.
Depends on the panel. But
Yeah.
Like
I've
I've never
Most
been. I just
majority of
never
them?
been to a panel that I felt like excited to be at. Like
I agree
Yeah.
with you on.
yeah,
most
I
of
just
it,
never
but some
been to
panels
one.
I'm like,
I know there's panels out there that's like really really good, but every time I go to one, it's just not a big deal. I kind of gotten out of the Metro gaming kind of situation. I don't really like do video games at other places. Yet again, it's kind of because like the people that are there are different from my point of view.
Yeah.
And I guess is mostly because it's that thing of I'm just not nerdy enough to be in that group.
Yeah.
So I just don't do it anymore. So like the only thing for me is because I have a huge like thing for voice actors, it was always just nice to continuously work with voice actors all the time and get to know them and stuff. Because especially since when I first worked one, it was so nice to finally like understand it's like these people are people too. Like they just have a job that like happens to be something I like to do as well. So it's
I feel like I kind of like comparison of how we got into working conventions. I feel like I kind of like threw myself into it, but at the same time it just kind of fell upon me. Because when Ryan came up and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for people to help me with Metro," and I told him, "Look, I will straight up be a liaison for you. I will help you. It's pretty much like doing waitressing and
Hospitality,
hospitality and something else.
management,
Yeah,
Well,
well, yeah, but
not like management, but like
so I got into that and I did it.
customer service.
Yeah, so I
There
got
you go.
experience from that small con, and
Yeah.
then when I went, Nora's making noise. When I went over to Metro, the only reason I got the job at Metro is because one, I just asked questions, and two, you also apply and see what happens. It's there's a process, obviously, but I asked questions and they answered quite nicely. Because I wasn't like, how do you do this? Because I wasn't trying to purposely get in. I was literally trying to figure out how does this system work.
Yeah.
But getting to meet voice actors is definitely beneficial because you get to meet some of your heroes and you get to meet people that you realize, oh, that's what you look like.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I hear your
I
voice.
know.
Yeah.
Now I know what you look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And yeah,
Oh,
they're very
right,
much
sorry.
normal people. Funny story. This was the year before I actually started working Metro. I hung out with. I was at a Scott Danielle panel, and then I went to an autograph session,
Oh,
and then I
Scott.
followed them out because I had asked Scott at the end of either the panel or the autograph. I can't remember which one. I said, "Hey, if you have the time and the chance, and if you would like to, I would love if we could go buy. If I could buy you a drink at the cabana that's out there."
Yes.
And he was like, "Oh, hell yeah!" So I was
Yes.
like, "Cool, awesome." And part of it was kind of like, "Oh, he's probably not gonna remember," and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. So like I kind of followed because he actually came up to me after the thing. Was like, "I don't remember where the cabana is, so come with me so we can make sure to go there." And I was like, "Okay." So I followed her around, and the person who was in charge of him at the time, I started talking with her, and I'm not gonna name names just because I don't know
Yeah.
she wants it out there. So we're talking, and he's talking to the other fans and stuff, and I'm just talking with her, and eventually it's at the end of it, and I even asked her just to make sure. I said, "Hey, I invited him out for a drink at this cabana. Is that okay?" And she goes, "When he's done here, whatever he does is up to him." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, cool." So we ended up going out to the cabana, and this is where I also met one of the artists, comic book / she's an artist.
Yes.
So, but she does like freelance manga and comics.
Yes.
And I met Ami,
Yay.
and we went out to the cabana and we
Okay.
drank, and I bought him a drink, he bought me a drink, and because like I bought my drink and I bought his drink, and we were just sitting there. I was like, I'm just gonna have this one. We're drinking, and he's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, I was like, I don't know procedure for this.
Yes.
all of it.
We
That's
ended,
it.
yeah, we ended
Yes.
up just talking. Eventually, he got to the point where he's like, "Hey, there's gonna be some food. You want to come?" And I was just like, "If I'm allowed to."
Yeah.
Because at this point, again, I'm just an attendee.
Yeah.
I'm a fan, and I'm an
Yeah.
attendee. So I followed them up to where Carlos and them were having their little after party for the first
Yes.
time I ever saw this stuff.
Yes.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, we just finished up with this stuff. We're gonna go up to the pool." And I was like, "Cool, okay." And they were talking about this stuff, and I was like, "Hey, I can help bring stuff if you want," because they were talking about having to go get all this crap from their room.
Right.
And before we all head up there, Carlos literally steps up, and like he went from to whoa, like all like
Yep.
bodyguard kind of thing. And he comes up and he starts pointing at people. Mind you, Scott gets a following.
Yes.
So he starts pointing at people and goes, "Who are you? Fan, get up. Who are you? Fan, get up. Who are
Yes.
you? Liaison." Okay. And then he keeps doing this.
Yes.
And he gets to me and goes, "Liaison," and keeps going. And I just kinda, I won't lie, I sat there and went, "I ain't saying shit."
Yeah.
And eventually we got up there, and I think at one point he realized, "Oh, you don't work at the con."
Yeah.
So he pulled, like, when he actually took me up on my offer to help him, so I go and help him, and he goes, "Part of the reason I want you to come with me is because, one, I do need your help. Two, who are you?"
Yes.
And I told him, like, everything, and I said, "Hey, I've done this. I've done liaison work because I understand this is downtime. I'm not here to be like, oh my god."
Yeah.
So, and that was awesome. I think that was the same year that Kirby and I forgot his name.
Richard Hancock.
Yep. They were all there that year. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
It was an
I remember
awesome
the year.
year.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like that's pretty much kind of how I got my foot in the door for that.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Like, honestly, again, if anyone is ever interested in working at their local convention or a convention that you're interested in, whether it's a first year, second year, or major con, there are volunteer opportunities.
Yeah.
Whether you can get on main staff or not is another
Yeah.
thing to kind of be decided. For some cons, you can literally sign up for liaison work. You're not guaranteed a guest, but
Yeah.
many hands make for great work.
Yes.
For when it comes to that
Yes.
department, sometimes.
Yeah, just contact your local con and get for info, and always get a hold of the person that's over the handling of guests. And
Yeah.
if you're interested in that type of work, I think it's great. It's usually end up just working around guests a lot. I mean, it's
And you
great.
get a great view of the kind of behind the scenes
Yeah.
stuff of how these cons function.
Yeah.
So you can see what these people put in to bring this great convention to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, bigger cons, say like San Diego Comic Con, or what's the one in LA that's really huge?
LA.
Yeah.
I mean, there's San Diego, but
Anime.
are you talking about Anime Expo? That's
Yeah,
in?
Anime Expo.
Yeah.
I think
Those
that's LA, I can't
cons, a
remember.
lot of times, you probably can't get in terms of main staff, because especially liaison, because a lot of these people that are coming in already have managers and people that
Yeah.
are already with them or assigned. However, you can probably volunteer, and a lot of times if you volunteer at a con, you can get a free day pass or a free weekend pass. It depends on what they offer you.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you can get compensation if you've already purchased a pass.
Yeah.
Again, depends on the con and depends on how large and how they run their system.
Yeah, most of those bigger cons usually have their actual agents or their managers with them.
Yeah.
For reasons, obviously for legal reasons.
But also don't expect to like go to Comic-Con and be able to, you know, just work it
I don't know,
without
I'd
ever
rather-
having
don't
done
expect
it.
to get a fucking ticket.
Without having done
I'm
it before.
fresh.
Yeah.
I'd rather experience Comic-Con.
Yeah. Well, that
with
was
the larger con, I'd rather be an attendee than staff.
Yeah, well,
It's
that
the
was
same for me.
that was the other.
It seems like a staffing
well, that was,
nightmare.
well, that was the other thing I was gonna say is like, you know, when we're sitting here, like, would I prefer be a staff or like attendee? Like for something like, especially like one, if I've never been, like when I go to Comic-Con, I'm going as an attendee. Like, cause one, I've never been. Two, it's so massive, it's kind of intimidating to me still. Like, even though I've worked at Metro for 3 years now, and I love it, and I feel great about doing it. But that's still like, I'm never ready. Like, it's just, it'd be too,
ready.
all those people, like, it's just like, oh gosh, I would love it, but at the same time, I think I would probably freak out.
I think I would too.
And a separate thing on that, and when you were saying we were working at Metro, that's like the other thing. I'd rather be an attendee on almost everything else at this point, just because I can't work in anything else besides Metro because I'm spoiled.
Yeah.
You're used
Yeah.
to how they
No
run
way.
things. You're used to their
No
system.
way.
It runs so
I
well.
can like because we've been working cons way before we started working.
And we're
Metro,
familiar with those people.
and we were
Yeah.
familiar, and it's not just that, but the fact that like when we were doing the cons and we were doing it before we did Metro, it was just like a completely different free reign kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Like their whole system
it's
of
not
doing things.
it's not an entire like integrated system like what our significant bosses has done for us in Metro. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Which they are champs,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way, and fantastic people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
awesome people.
They've
And
created a very well-oiled machine.
yeah, and so, yeah, and
Yes.
so I'm too spoiled to want to work at somewhere
Yeah.
else because I'm just gonna
Same.
get pissed off. Like
You're
Yeah.
like, why aren't you doing it this way?
exactly.
Yes.
I'm
This
like,
is how
why didn't
Metro
you do-
does it.
Like,
Yes.
why didn't you do
Why don't
this?
you do this like Metro?
Exactly. I won't lie, I have done that at a con before.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Mostly
Oh,
Chaoticon.
Yeah.
Well, even like, okay, I actually had that experience when we went to Pensacon,
Right.
which Pensacon is a big con. Like
It's
bigger
huge.
than Metro in that aspect of just
Oh, yeah,
because
definitely.
they pull in like.
I mean, with
anyways,
the guests that they
the
have,
guests
yeah.
that they bring in, like
They're big names.
I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
they sit here and they get like people from, you know, I mean this
All
year,
over.
like this year they're gonna have people from like they're gonna have like the actress who's Madame Gao in like
Oh, snap.
yeah, like, and then all these other things. So, but when we went this year, I to myself, I don't know if I actually said it to you or not, but when we were there, so basically there they have like the autograph room is not one. They don't really have lines for each guest. It's all in like a small kind of confined, like basically like you're sitting at that desk there, and then
Right.
like the rest of the room is like open with like other little booths,
It's like-
and it's like each person is there, and it's like I was sitting there and I was like, and all these people like line up and they form lines
They land
in the hallways.
Yeah.
Right.
Fire hazard is the first thing that comes to my mind, but
Also,
But
you
then
know,
I'm
they
just
have
like,
to
I'm
divide
sitting
lines.
here-
Like, okay, these two people are in these two guests are in this line, but if you want
Yeah.
to see these other two guests, you have to get in that other line over there.
and there
it's
was
just-
no like distinguishment from VIP or not, but there was
No.
like other thing. I'm sitting here and I'm like, it should be more like Metro, like because Metro like they have like there was no like okay,
There's
there
a
was
cattle
no
run
there's
for a
no
cattle run for a
queues,
cattle
there's
run.
no
Yeah.
cattle runs, none of and I'm sitting here like they need this. They need this.
Well-
This is a nightmare right now.
Which is funny because we
Like-
had that problem before, like before we really started that cattle run in
Yeah.
Metro. We
Yeah.
had something very similar to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
Also-
wasn't nearly as
They
bad,
had,
but like
they had sections though. There was
Yeah.
like section A, which was on this side of the convention
Yes.
center for autographs, and then section B, which was
On the
all the way
opposite
on the
end.
opposite side.
Yes.
So you're like, you see, oh, autographs. Yeah, I'm looking for so and so. I'm like, okay, well they're over there. Well, I also want an autograph from so and so. Well, they're here.
Yeah.
And they're only signing for a limited time, so you can't
it's
get
like you
from
gotta
here
pick-
to there.
Which, like, I mean,
Pick
I
one.
understand pick one, like, because that happens with the bigger cons. It's like
Yeah.
you got to pick the one that you really want to see first. But
If it was all in one area, it would be able to get both.
yeah,
yeah. To be fair, we lucked out with Next Generation autographs. To be fair.
Yeah.
Well, theirs was kind of like a semi meet and greet and autograph.
That's cool.
And that's the only thing I thought about. When you have big cons like that, you have to have like some sort of median for all of the guests to be able to be there all in one place, because if you can't get them in any at a time,
Especially
you
if
should
it's a
get them at the same.
big cast like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and that was like the cool thing about Mega, and I'm just saying that as terms of an example.
Mega
but-
Orlando, because now
Yeah.
there's two.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, but yeah, in Mega Orlando, when the Star Trek Next Generation had, they just had the entire people that was signing, well, the entire Next Generation that was signing was all in one place, and
Yeah.
then, like everybody else was also there, but they were like outside.
There were a
of the
few
same
other
line.
smaller
Yeah.
people
And
that
then
were around as
every-
well. What was Gene Roddenberry's son's name?
Oh god,
We met him.
Oh man, I can't remember his name. I mean, his last name's Roddenberry.
Yeah. So we got to meet him. Cool dude. Very down
He's
to
really
earth.
cool. But yeah, the way they had it is that basically because the room is so big, because it's the dealer's hall.
Yeah.
And so,
Essentially, MegaCon's a giant dealer's hall with spots of autographs throughout.
Honestly,
Well, see, and that even that would have worked better than what they had
Yeah.
at Pensacon, because what they had was basically like a smaller, just like it's an open. It's not even really an open room. It's like a confined room that goes
Right.
like it's like a U shaped, and it's like so it's limited space. It's
Right.
like probably from this wall to like the outer wall right there, like that wide.
Right.
A little more than that for like table, but so there's not a lot of space, and all these people are trying to
Yeah, it's
like
really
walk
odd.
through, and there's like I said, there's no real lines. So when you get to the people who are in like the middle, there's no lines for them in there, and so you just have all these people that are like clustered in the middle right there, and you're trying to like walk through after you've seen. The other thing is they're like you go in this door, out this door, but then because they didn't have lines in the middle, it's just a cluster of people, so you can't get out, but then you can't go out the other way, and you're just like, move, please.
Yeah, it's really weird because most things like in MegaCon is very like essential to how
open.
Comic-Cons
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
They're all like basically
was
huge
not
dealers
very
rooms. These
open.
huge rooms that are just dealers rooms.
I mean,
They
the
have
crowd
booths
is
that's very
open.
sectioned
Yeah.
off. So it's really weird that's set up in that situation.
So,
Yeah.
kind of come to the end here. One
But
of
then
the
again,
things.
that's at a hotel, isn't it?
No,
No,
at the
it's in their
center.
convention center. But see, they put their dealers hall in the actual like what I would call like civic center
Right.
part.
And yeah,
in like where there's it's down at the bottom of the
stadium.
floor, and then all the seats are open, and they specifically cut stuff off so people can only come in one way and out the other. So they use all that space. They use all that space for the vendors. And like the vendors have room and stuff, but like to me it would have been better if they had switched it, because the vendors
think
hall
the
like
vendors
could have
would've
had they could have had like they could have utilized that tighter space area better and set up
yeah.
their booths in a like
'Cause the
it would have
autograph
been
hall
fine
didn't
for
look
them
like
either
So
way.
there's
but
room for improvement, essentially.
Yeah.
definitely,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Well, it's only what 3 or 4 year con at this
Yeah.
point.
I don't
Like,
know.
yeah, it wasn't around for that long. When it
No,
was first year, it was
MegaCon's
huge.
not- yeah, it
When
was.
it was first year, it was huge. My uncle went through its first year, and it was like huge then. So
Yeah.
like, and that was only like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Whoever has it has
Yeah,
big.
'cause
But
when
anyway,
we first met
Yes.
JoJo, that's like he was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you guys should come to Pensacon." And he's been trying for the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard now.
yeah. So to kind
But it
of
is.
start wrapping things up here, comparison between conventions, but not conventions we know.
Right.
So there's the U.S. cons and you have the Japanese cons. I don't know if you've ever seen anything about Japanese cons. They get huge queues, but
Yeah.
somebody recently posted a video where it's there's this huge queue of people and it's from an aerial view. So there's a lot of people, but you
Right.
can see them lined up. But it is time lapse too. But they're standing there for a little while and so they move and it looks like a giant S going through like
Right.
essentially a cattle run or something like that. And then more people come in and they move in and another. It's so chaotic and yet organized.
Yes.
And then you have people that literally have no problem with standing there for 3-4 hours and then going in.
But it's very self-organized though. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it really. Apparently, the Japanese have no problem standing in queues.
Well, that's it's,
Yeah.
it's a very
Yeah.
different culture too.
Oh,
Like,
I
it's
know.
like it's a lot of
Yeah.
like, oh man, I'm just trying to sorry,
Yep.
sorry.
Yep.
We got this. But it's like literally thousands of people like shoulder to shoulder just waiting.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Some are talking, some are on their phone, some are reading.
Some are just
stuff.
waiting for that Dojinshi.
Oh, yeah.
It's limited.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
so cons. There's always pros and cons to conventions.
It's also a lot
whether-
more incentives in cons like that.
Yes, there are.
I mean,
Like,
we only have like
more door
Comic-Con
prizes.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more like specialized shit that comes out of just those cons. Like,
Yeah.
Comic-Con,
Like
Jesus
exclusive
Christ.
stuff. But yeah, so cons, conventions and stuff, whether it's anime, video game, or comic book, they all have something that's going to be awesome. They all have something that we're going to complain about. But in
Yeah.
the end, if you notice, despite how crappy it is, there's always going to be some kind of funny story that you're going to sit back
Oh,
and go,
yes.
You always have con stories.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing about like conventions in general for me is the fact that like this is still for an audience that's very niche. This is still
Yes.
a very niche audience. This is
Yes.
not still widely a thing like in the US. This is still like maybe
It's starting.
It's slowly
like,
become
in,
bigger.
in the
though.
terms of like
Yes.
the entirety of the US. We're getting like maybe 2 million people like out of like the
More
Yeah.
than that.
yeah. Well, I mean, like in the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
like in all around, like actual like fans that constantly go to cons all
Yeah.
the time kind
Yeah.
of situation. Compared to like the 7 to 14 million people we have in like even more, or like I think it's like 2 billion now we have in the U.S.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we have a shitload.
Yeah.
We have issues with overpopulation as well right now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's very niche compared to like the actual population, the entirety of itself. So part of me is kind of happy that's the case right now because I don't know. I'm not that person that likes to think like, oh, it's mainstream, it's awful. It's more so that like there's so many expectations that comes out when it becomes a normal thing.
Yeah.
So it's so
Yeah.
nice when you hear a niche and everyone also understands that this is a niche situation.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's just really great to like really be around people that are not only like rare and unique, but also part of a group that I can only say that is my group.
And it's
Yeah.
a great opportunity that if you have like only one con that you get to go to in a year, like one big one,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity to go and just get all your nerd out and just
Yes.
like and then you get back and go, I am normal.
Yes.
Are we no? I mean,
Not truly,
No.
but
It's all an act. You know it's all an act.
It's all an act. It's all an act. I mean, we now got to the point where like when I first met voice actors, I always thought they like was completely different than what we are. There was like I always understood that like they don't like are necessarily like nerds like us kind of situation until like I met people like Ray and Max and Robbie
Yes.
and Sabbath, one of the biggest, or Todd, or Jesus, I can go down the line, or Zach, or Erica, and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
But
You
mind you,
have-
these are also some people who are a little bit closer to our own age as
Right.
well.
So-
Yeah.
And I say that, I was about to say, like, I say this people as well our age, people like Max and Ray and Erica and Zach, who are all, like, closer to our age, so they
Yeah.
have more understanding, which I really appreciate how that is, because there's a lot of things with that. But that's a whole nother conversation we
Yeah.
can get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, if you're ever interested in going to conventions, again, whether it's anime, video game, or comic book, you probably have heard the major ones that we've listed off. If you're interested in going one in your local area or finding out if you have one near you, conventions.com or .net.
One of those two.
One of
Maybe-
those, it's a good one, and it even does worldwide. But you can click on North America, and you can check Canada, U.S., and you can also then go by state or province, and they'll show you which cons are coming up, and you can go to the con website and figure out if you want to go or not. And just as a heads up, certain cons, they're not cheap. You're gonna want to save
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna want to have that money because you gotta also count in the fact you want hotel, food, any stuff you want, including autographs, because sometimes you don't get a free autograph all the
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
Plus, there's gonna always be that one thing you're like, I must have it.
Yes.
Treat it like a mini vacation.
Yes, essentially.
As if you're
Yeah.
saving
Oh,
up
yeah,
for
that's
that.
definitely the case.
So, but always enjoy it, and even if you go by yourself, you're probably guaranteed, most likely, to find somebody that you're gonna end up being friends with
Oh,
at
yeah.
these conventions.
yeah.
Oh, and
Con friends.
that's the other thing too. Like, don't be afraid to talk to people when you go to a convention, even if it's your first time, even if you're by yourself. Like, don't be afraid to just stick your neck out there because most of the time people are gonna be encouraging and wanting to talk to you and become friends with you because you're a nerd like them. You
Right.
know, like. So definitely don't be afraid to talk to people.
And be aware of common courtesy as well
Oh, yeah.
as etiquette. If somebody is in costume and you really love their costume and they are eating or drinking and you can clearly see they are on the downtime,
Yes.
don't leave them be.
Same
Wait.
with voice actors.
Same with
Yeah.
voice actors.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They just want their
gosh.
lunch too.
But yeah, just and of course, don't be rude to anybody in costume. Don't mess up their costume. These people put a good amount of hours and time and skill
Oh,
into
yeah.
making these, so don't ruin that for them.
Don't be rude to others in general.
Yeah, don't be
Yeah.
rude to others in
Just
general.
common courtesy.
Yeah.
And, you know, be
Just
kind
'cause-
to each other.
Just because somebody likes Pikachu and the other doesn't mean you need to get on a fight club.
Yes.
About it.
Yeah, and be patient with convention staff.
Yes.
There's always going to be a glitch somewhere in the system.
Yes.
But they are working
Shit
hard to
happens.
make sure it works well for you. But yeah, and in general, just enjoy conventions, have fun, and get out there and see what you can learn or get to experience. So
Yeah. If it works out in terms of scheduling for us, I think that's the issue right now is just scheduling because I don't know how it is for you. For us.
work.
Yeah. If it works out, our next con we're actually going to go to is EXP.
Definitely.
I would say it's not going to be our
Dang.
last one, but I think Tallahassee Con is going to be the
Tallahassee
last
Comic
one.
Con's our
Tallahassee
last
We're
Con.
definitely
December.
gonna try and go to that one too, because that's gonna be
that's in
like-
December, so that's a pretty.
Yeah.
That's, I
Yeah.
think
That's a ways
easy.
off.
That's an easy one, but the next one is on October, and I think we're going on that Saturday, the 28th.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we're seeing Augustine. So
Yeah, so if it works out, we'll see you guys there. If
Yeah.
you hear us, if you see us, just say hi to us. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Because it'll be our first time coming back since, 2013?
Yeah.
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 Jeez, I don't even know.
2012 or 2013.
Yeah.
So one of those two was
Long
the last
time.
time it came
Long
back. This is,
time.
the comeback,
It was a
this is the
while.
comeback for this con. It's really
Yeah.
great. A good
We're
friend of
super
ours, Ryan
excited.
Sweat, runs it, and I'm really, really excited for it.
Yeah.
Bring it first time ever. They're bringing in all 4 of the main cast of the
Yes.
Final Fantasy 15. That is a first time ever
So
that has
excited.
happened, and they're also bringing back Mega 64, which is
Nice.
awesome people.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Really
Yes.
fun, awesome people, super nice
I don't know
for
if they
their
were.
type of comedy.
I don't think they were there the year I was there. If
No,
they,
it
no,
was-
they weren't. 'Cause
No, it
It
was
was
the year
the-
after.
it was the year.
It was the year
or
before.
after.
It was the year before.
Yeah.
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 Because
But yeah.
no, you were there the last
Yeah.
EXP con. That was your first and last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so enjoy. Thank y'all for listening to us today. Hope your ears didn't bleed too much from our gabbing.
If it
Gab,
did,
gab,
good.
gab,
Yes.
gab, gab.
We will try. We're trying to be better about putting out more podcasts and stuff on timely manners, but life is life.
Yes.
So
And we gotta be nerds, man.
yep. So enjoy, and if you find any cons that you want to tell stories about, you're more than welcome to post it onto our page, or you can just share them with other people that you're with. So yeah.
Yeah, again, follow us on Twitter and on our Facebook at Nerd Doom with an E instead of
with
a
a
3
3.
instead of an E.
Three
Sorry.
instead of
Way to
E.
go.
Yeah.
Now they're confused.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No.
And check us out also on SoundCloud where our videos are posted.
Yay.
Wherever we have them.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Laters.